The Oklahoma Sooners are trending for more big-time prospects in the 2026 class coming up on Locked On Sooners.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Sooner Nation? Welcome to Locked On Sooners, and thank you for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there tuning in, subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com. He's Jay Smith of Unfair Sports. I'm John Williams of Sooners Wire at USA Today Sports. And coming up on today's show, Jeremiah Fears is officially a lottery pick going to New Orleans. We'll talk about that in the third segment. Burning question about the Oklahoma Sooners linebackers. Who's going to step up and show out in 2025? But we'll start with this because it is recruiting season, Jay. The Oklahoma Sooners are buzzing for several more prospects on the recruiting trail. We discussed Jake Krell and Peyton Houston, the 2027 quarterback, in yesterday's show. But today we're going to discuss Deacon Schmitt and Jacob Eberhart. Deacon Schmitt, the offensive line prospect out of Colorado, and Jacob Eberhart, the athlete out of Missouri.
Yeah, Deacon Schmitt's one that I know the Sooners have been pushing very hard for. He's coming in 6'5", 300 and something pounds, 4-star out of Windsor, Colorado. And so he's a dude. Everyone really likes him. Big, strong, moves very well, actually, for his size. And he'll be another big-time tackle that Bill Beatonbow will have the opportunity to mold, John. And so he'll add to this class. We know the Sooners are pushing very hard for him. We got to get some more big tackles. Like, if you really look at it, you still, with Michael Fasusi and Ryan Fogier this past class, they're going to play a lot over the next couple of years. And so you kind of want to have somebody there that's ready to not only potentially step in if needed, but also be a little bit of a development so that you can have a good project ready to throw out there on the field. And I think Deacon Schmitt's actually one that can find a way on the field within his redshirt freshman season.
If Oklahoma is able to get Deacon Schmitt and get that commitment, this is a prospect that a lot of big-time programs are going after. I mean, he's had official visits with schools like Tennessee, with Nebraska, with USC, with Alabama. So, I mean, this is a legit blue chip recruitment that Oklahoma is favored to win now, as Josh McCuistion of Sooner Scoop and On 3 issued a prediction favoring the Sooners on Wednesday evening. It's all trending well. Oklahoma's done a really good job in this recruitment. Bill Beatonbow has continued to lay some really strong groundwork about what he's capable of. Deacon Schmitt has talked about the developmental process at Oklahoma and why that stands out so much. And some places are projecting him as an interior offensive lineman. He's been playing offensive tackle for his high school. That kind of position flexibility, that'd be nice to have. If Jay is right and he does play in his redshirt freshman year, potentially you're playing him next to a Ryan Fogier.
Yeah, or even a Fasusi. Right. Or you got either like next to Fogier, next to Fasusi. I mean, that's because right now I think it was Gabe Eichert that said it. He says that Fogier has the size today to play in the SEC at guard. Like, he's already there and ready to go. Fogier was brought in as a tackle, but he has that versatility. And that's something that Bill Beatonbow is known for. He's always looking for players that are very versatile, that he can bring in and move them around on the line. If Deacon Schmitt actually, if he's able to play at both spots, you could slide Fogier right over. You have Fasusi, Fogier, and then you have Deacon right there next to him. And he may have a chance of actually being able to push some people out and be able to play a lot earlier. Now, you've got a pretty solid set of interior offensive linemen on the docket in the depth chart for the next couple of years. So Deacon may have a chance of fighting his way in and playing, but I think that he has an opportunity to play as a redshirt freshman.
Yeah, after Derek Simmons, Luke Baklenko at right tackle, you're talking about Isaiah Autry-Dent, again, a developmental piece at right tackle. for 2026. We're looking beyond the 2025 season. And so, yeah, there's going to be opportunity for a guy like Deacon Schmitt to come in and compete for a role. Is it likely? Not necessarily, but there will be opportunities. We've seen Bill Beatonbow play true freshmen early on if they're ready and they're able to compete and contribute in their true freshman season. So we'll see. But if it's not his true freshman year, that 2027 season as a redshirt freshman, absolutely could see him being a significant part of the offensive line. The other person that they received on Wednesday evening is for Jacob Eberhart, the athlete out of Kirkwood, Missouri. This one comes from Greg Smith, a national recruiting expert for Rivals, who issued the Futurecast as a 4-star prospect in the 26th cycle. And most are projecting him to the defensive side of the ball, but he's played both ways in high school.
Yeah, he's definitely a consensus composite top 400 player. He is a 4-star in the consensus and the composite if you put them together. And he's 6'3", 200 plus pounds. So you got yourself another player that is close to like a Michael Boganowski, a headhunter in the secondary. So you'll be able to bring him down. He could potentially play cheetah, especially with his athleticism. He played wide receiver as well as on the defensive side of the ball. But like you said, he's projected to play on defense. And his offer sheet is deep. You've got the Nebraskas, Ole Miss, Penn State, Ohio State, Bama, Tennessee, Iowa, who we know does a really good job of getting DBs. Wisconsin, of course, Missouri's up the street, Miami, USC. So he's one that's been coveted by a lot of schools, and a lot of teams have really heavily recruited him. I know Nebraska has been in his ear, and Missouri's been pushing hard as well, but he is another big-bodied secondary player, and we know that Oklahoma's looking for a lot of those. But I guess with him, the versatility, he feels like more of a cheetah than he is actually like a free or strong safety.
Yeah, that's what it seems like to me as well. Somebody that you can line up at cheetah and you can play him in those situations where you need somebody to cover a tight end, you need somebody to rush off the edge, you want to play another safety type. He's got that size and that skill set to thrive as a cheetah for Oklahoma. Oklahoma's cheetah depth chart, it's going to get young after Kendall Daniels, Kendall Dolby go off to the NFL. You're looking at Reggie Powers III, ready to step up and take over. Potentially, I mean, who knows? He could earn a starting game this year, earn a starting role this year. But if not this year, then in 2026. But beyond that, where's your next cheetah going to come from? Maybe Marcus James. We'll see. You're going to have to start looking maybe outside the program because you're going to be really, really young at the potential cheetah spot. So getting a guy like Eberhart, continuing to build that depth in the safety / cheetah / weak side linebacker spot, I think that that's going to be beneficial. You got to keep stacking that, and you've got to be heavy, I think, in the 2026 cycle with those cheetah linebacker types, because you're going to get thin at linebacker over the next couple of years after a guy like Kip Lewis goes to the NFL, maybe Kobie McKinzie and Samuel Omosigho after that. And I think they're really trying to do that in the 26 cycle. You've already got the Bo Jandro commitment. You got Nico Jandro. You're pushing really hard for Braxton Lindsey out of Rogers, Arkansas. You've got Ja'Cory Smith out of Arkansas. So you're trying to load up at linebacker this cycle. If you get Jacob Eberhart, that just helps solidify that depth moving forward.
Yeah, one coach we don't concern ourselves with is Brandon Hall and the players that he's going to go after, because Brandon Hall's really been really good. Yeah. With Marcus Wimberly, you got Omarion Robinson there at the safety, and then you had the three-headed monster that came in with Powers, Hardy, and Boganowski. And so you expect him to go out there and find some good safeties that like to hit people. And I think Jacob Eberhart's going to be the next one on the list of headhunters. He's going to take some folks out.
Speaking of linebacker, what is the rotation going to look like for the Oklahoma Sooners in 2025? We'll discuss that coming up next here on Locked On Sooners. And today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Monarch Money. If you're trying to get your finances under control, you got to go check out Monarch Money. Do you ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just another budgeting app. It's more than that. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building your wealth. My wife and I, we've been working to try and save for a house, and we're using Monarch Money to help us narrow in where we can make some cuts in our spending. And we're finding out that, hey, eating out has been really costing us over the last year as well. And so Monarch Money has done a great job at helping us identify where we can make some cuts so that we can save more. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year over at monarchmoney.com. Thanks again for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there tuning in. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Coming up in the third segment, Jeremiah Fears is a Pelican. I don't know if that's how Lawrence like, oh, there it is.
I'd say or mine. No, one of the two. Mine. One of the two.
We just watched Finding Nemo actually just last week with the kids.
That's
again, hilarious. Fantastic film. It holds up. The Oklahoman is asking a burning question for each position group for the Oklahoma Sooners in 2025. We discussed the safety room yesterday, but here we're going to talk linebackers. Jay, what does the Oklahoma linebacker rotation look like for the Sooners in 2025?
To me, the more interesting question is, who's going to be your next Danny Stutzman type? Who's the one that's going to really take over and be the leader? Naturally, you would probably say Kip Lewis and expect him to be the one that really takes over. I think it's probably going to be Kobie McKinzie, though. I remember one of my favorite things about him. I think it was a portion of last season and the season before when he was younger, when they would actually get him in the game. He'd go out there and he'd smack the defensive tackles to move them left and right. And he was the one that was always pushing people into different areas and helped to get everybody into the right coverages. And so I think he's going to be the one that's going to end up doing that and let Kip kind of be out there and let him freestyle the way he does best. But I can totally see him also stepping up. Now, from there, it gets very intriguing because you've got a Kendall Daniels who not only will play interior linebacker, he's also going to probably play some cheetah as well. And then you got Samuel Omosigho and then James Nesta. So you got like a nice little mix, and Taylor Heim as well. So you got a nice little mix of potential guys that you're really curious to see who's going to be the one that's going to take over. But honestly, in the rotations, give me Kip and give me Kip and Kobie. Give me Samuel Omosigho and Kendall Daniels. I think that'll be your solid two deep to start. But I can totally see Kendall Daniels ending up being with Kobie and Samuel Omosigho going in there with Kip.
Is there anybody under more pressure on the defensive side of the ball than maybe Kobie McKinzie?
Oh no, I think you're right. Because that's the dude. Yeah.
He's expected to take over for Danny Stutzman, who is, to be quite honest, the face of the Brent Venables defense so far at Oklahoma. Nobody has been more important than what Danny Stutzman has been to the Oklahoma Sooners from a leadership standpoint, from an on-field standpoint, off-the-field standpoint, a production standpoint. He has been the most important piece. You go back to that 2023 season and the two games that Oklahoma lost in the regular season, Danny Stutzman misses a game and a half. He missed half of the Kansas game and you missed all of Oklahoma State. You lost those two games. Danny Stutzman plays in those games. Do you win them? Maybe. You just might win those games. And then you're going into, the Big 12 championship undefeated with an opportunity to get to the college football playoff. How important is Danny Stutzman? We're going to find out. I mean, Kobie McKinzie, you're going to have all eyes on you. Now, you're not going to be able to replace the character that Danny Stutzman is. Now, I'm not talking about your integrity character. I'm talking about the personality, the persona. Nobody is like Danny Stutzman. We're not expecting you to be that guy. We're expecting you to be Kobie McKinzie, the guy that's bided his time. He's been patient. He's waited his turn behind Danny Stutzman. He's known that, hey, just got to bide my time. Got to wait for Danny Stutzman. He didn't bail for the transfer portal when Stutzman decided to return for 2025. Kobie McKinzie stayed patient, continued to trust the process that Brent Venables and the defensive staff had laid out for him. Trust the plan. And so I'm excited for what he's going to bring, but the pressure's on, man. You got to deliver. because you've got a veteran in Kendall Daniels that can step in and take some snaps. You've got a really, really intriguing younger player in Samuel Omosigho that everybody's excited about with this incredible athleticism that's ready to take some snaps if you don't deliver. So Kobie McKinzie, man, all eyes on you.
Yeah, he's the one that everybody's, yeah, you said everybody got their eyes on Kobie. I mean, he came in as a guy that was bigger than Kenneth Murray when you saw him as a high schooler and you saw him standing next to each other. You're like, wait, this dude is like legitimately bigger than him. And so now he's just ready to go out there. He's built to play in the SEC. That's probably the one thing that's good about Kobie. He's built physically to be a dude that can play in the SEC. I need to see him go out there and take over in a game. He, to me, will be your Danny Stutzman run stuffer. Mm-hmm. He'll be the one that's off the run. I may have some concerns about him in coverage. More so, I just need to see more of it. I need to see what he's going to be able to do. Kip, on the opposite side, he's probably bulked up enough to where I think he'll be stronger in the run while also still maintaining his skill set in coverage. Like, he does well when it comes to that. I mean, the couple of pick sixes we've seen out of him tells you enough that quarterbacks are going to try to figure out where he's at and make sure they don't throw his direction. Because if they throw it his direction, he's probably going to just take it to the house. Samuel Omosigho, though, is going to be fun because he's the one that I think is going to push both Kip and Kobie the most. Because I know that they're going to find a way to get Kendall Daniels on the field just because of his size and stature. He's probably going to end up playing some safety too. Like I said, he'll play cheetah. He's going to be moved around a lot. He's the one that Brent Venables had been hoping to find for years, that legitimate Isaiah Simmons size guy that has the ability and speed to play safety as well as linebacker. And they've seen the work ethic out of him, so they're not concerned there. Oklahoma State fans were in my mentions like crazy when we got him. It was like, oh, he's super lazy and he doesn't blah, blah, blah. Oklahoma ain't got that concern. They've seen him in practice. They've seen his hustle and his grind. They're like, nah, it was more so y'all. It wasn't us. So with that being said,
yeah,
we expect Kendall Daniels to be moved around a lot. And so if anybody that I think is going to push those two really is going to be Samuel Omosigho, because he's shown, it looks like he's about ready to get more action, more game time. So I could totally see him really pushing his way in to try to fight for minutes between Kip and Kobie, and actually in either one of those spots.
Yeah, I think Samuel Omosigho is ready to take on a big time role. He saw 300 snaps last year and he graded out really well. If you take Pro Football Focus grades for what they are, he was somebody that showed well in the run game as a pass rusher. In coverage, he graded out well. Back to Kobie McKinzie. I mean, you talked about a guy that's going to be the run stuffer. Well, the stats bear that out. He played 337 snaps for Oklahoma last year, which was 15th on the defense, according to Pro Football Focus. Well, he finished 7th in defensive stops. So that's pretty good. Like,
yeah,
he had more defensive stops than, Eli Bowen. He had more defensive stops than, Trace Ford, who played, more snaps. Jaden Jackson, who played more snaps. Dominic Williams, that played more snaps. Peyton Bowen, who played more snaps. Kanai Walker. I mean, a lot of guys played a lot more snaps than he did, and he was a little bit more productive than they were. Now, as you mentioned, has to continue to improve in coverage, but was only targeted 6 times in a bunch of snaps. I think he had 170 coverage snaps, or was it real quick? Sorry, 131 coverage snaps and was only targeted 6 times. To me, that's an encouraging thing. If you're out there that much and you're targeted that little, it's because you're where you're supposed to be and you're doing your job, and people don't want to throw it at you. So I'm encouraged and I'm optimistic about what Kobie McKinzie is going to be able to be, but he's got competition for snaps breathing down his neck. So that second game of the year against Michigan, when they're going to try and run the ball to take the pressure off of Bryce Underwood, Kobie McKinzie, you're up, man. Double-digit tackles, several tackles for loss. It's your time to really break out.
We want to see it. Give it to us, Kobie. We know you got it in you.
That's right.
You came here with that size and stature. Give me some. I just want to see you take somebody's helmet off. If you can do that for me, I think I'll excuse the entire season if you hit somebody and the helmet flies off.
Yeah, time to find some Kinsey Hansen clutch gene in Kobie McKinzie.
I like that.
Maybe that rubs off a little bit on our boy. Yeah, and take on that approach, that Tupac approach, right? All eyes on me.
There we go.
So, Anyway, coming up, Jeremiah Fears got all eyes on him as he's going to New Orleans. We'll discuss coming up next here on Locked On Sooners.
Guys, you probably heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you've even tried them. But if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rougette Ready. Rougette Ready is a next generation prescription treatment designed to amplify arousal in the brain and boost blood flow. Unlike the usual pills that can take hours, Rougette is 3-in-1 formula, dissolves underneath your tongue and kicks in fast. On average, 15 minutes. Effects can last up to 36 hours, so you can stay confident and control when the moment is right. So I love that it's completely online. Rougette connects with you with a board-certified doctor and ships your treatments discreetly to your door. And you can even read real customer reviews on their site. It helps, it's helping a lot of people feel more confident and present in those moments. So head over to rougette.com/lockedoncollege and use code lockedoncollege and get 15% off today. That's RUGIET.com/lockedoncollege and use promo code lockedoncollege for 15% off. Individual results may vary with prescription treatment. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law, but not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, or manufacturing review. Please visit the Rougette website for full safety information.
Thanks again for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there tuning in. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Oklahoma Sooners guard Jeremiah Fears landed with the New Orleans Pelicans, being selected number 7 overall in the 2025 NBA draft.
Kind of feel, it's the second Sooner to get drafted in the first round by the New Orleans Pelicans in their iteration of existing as New Orleans Pelicans. Buddy Hield was also drafted by the Pelicans back in the day. So it's kind of interesting to see that they have a thing for Oklahoma players, or they just like to stick to guys in the regional area. But I digress. I do like him going there. They just traded CJ McConnell out. Jordan Poole is coming in, and so it's going to be an interesting dynamic, but they're going to need somebody to be a good playmaker and someone to really be a floor general for their roster. And so I kind of like that he ended up with the Pelicans. He's not going to be too far away. We'll see him in Oklahoma City at least twice, so it'll be good to be able to root for the Sooner in that capacity. So I don't think it's too bad. I don't think it could have been better, but I do think that it's a good landing spot for him overall.
Yeah, I think going to a place where he's not going to be necessarily required to be the primary scorer, it's huge. And I don't know why this ad is going off. I'm looking at New Orleans depth chart, and anyway, Jordan Poole, he's going to be one of your primary guard scorers. Jeremiah Fears can handle the ball. He can distribute the basketball. He's a really good distributor, and he can just focus on what he does best as he continues to develop his outside shot. If you get a healthy Zion Williamson with Jordan Poole at guard, and you got Jeremiah Fears running the point, New Orleans could be on their way to being a playoff team and being somebody that can be a threat to some teams, not necessarily a contender, but they're going to have a chance to make some noise with Jeremiah Fears because he's one of those guys that's unafraid to attack the rim. And with a good pick and roll game, if they, again, have a healthy Zion Williamson, that's going to be trouble for other teams.
Yeah, all he's got to do really too is turn up his defensive prowess out there. He's basically going to be replacing DeJounte Murray, who tore his Achilles about 5 months ago. And so he's gone until next season, probably midway through next season. He may not even play at all this coming season at all. So he'll have an opportunity to get a lot of play, him with Trey Murphy, as well as Jose Alvarado. So he'll be able to have the opportunity to, like I said, make some plays with him and Jordan Poole. Curious to see how that works out with Zion as well. But I think that he did land into a spot where he'll have opportunity to truly compete, and especially for opportunity to actually play.
Yeah, and it's a little bit lower than what you saw some of the projections. A lot of places had it going maybe to Utah as high as number 5 at times, but still, it's a great honor for Jeremiah Fears, who was a big reason why Oklahoma was able to make to the NCAA tournament this year and why there's a little bit more positive buzz and momentum about the Oklahoma Sooners moving forward in the Porter Moser era. He really flipped the narrative about Oklahoma basketball in
He really did.
And it got everybody buying in a little bit more. And that's what it's going to take, is just a little bit more buy-in from everybody. And you got Trae Young coming back and being a part of this program. So things are on the up and up. Had they not made the tournament, had Jeremiah Fears not reclassified and come to Oklahoma this last year, who knows where the program would be? It could very well be looking for or had to look for a new coach this offseason. There might not be as much investment or buy-in from alumni or the fan base. But because of what Jeremiah Fears did in his one season in Norman, along with the rest of the team, I don't want to sell them short, but he was certainly the catalyst for a resurgent Oklahoma season. Remember, they went 16-0 in non-conference. They had big-time wins that helped propel them into the NCAA tournament. Got big wins in the SEC tournament. So Jeremiah Fears, man, shout out to you. Go and prosper.
Exactly. And give it to Porter Moser. This is his first player that's been drafted since he's been here at Oklahoma. And, you know, this is something that he needs. This is a feather in his cap to be able to have those conversations with players as they're recruiting to say, hey, I got a kid that reclassified who's technically young, and I got him drafted in the top 10 in the NBA draft. Now, you thought he was potentially going to go top 5. Like you said, Utah, top 5, number 5 pick. They ended up taking Ace Bailey instead. And it's okay. I think that the good thing about going to the Pelicans is because they're revamping their backcourt and DeJounte Murray is out for a while, we'll get to see some early minutes from Jeremiah Fears. And so because of that, now we'll be able to see, because he's considered the best ball handler in the draft by a lot of draft analysts. And truth be told, he probably is. I think it was Stephen A. Smith that said he compares him to the next little Kyrie Irving. I don't see that part yet, but I do think he has a playmaking ability similar to Kyrie. And I think that he can refine his game and get close to that. But the big thing with him, he doesn't shoot the three that well, but he also doesn't shoot a whole bunch of them. He needs to get stronger. He needs to get better defensively. Like I said, if he can get like a DeJounte Murray where he's a playmaker while also being strong on defense, which, of course, again, he's young. He's 18. He's going to put on some weight and some more strength. That he could make a good path for himself to stick around in the NBA, because he'd be able to guard other points and be able to really be in their face and even guard guys that are bigger than him, right? You got to be able to be versatile in that capacity, and I think that Fears has an opportunity for that. He just got to get stronger, and the good thing is he's only 18, so he'll have a good 3 years to get to that point.
And he's got the work ethic to do it. You know, that's the part that I think if you're a Pelicans fan that you have to be the most excited about, is you're getting a kid that's ready for the grind. Like, he hasn't really taken any time off since the season ended. He went and started getting ready for the NBA draft and getting ready for the NBA and going to workouts, trying to develop his 3-point game, getting stronger in the weight room. He's already got good speed. So if you're excited about maybe getting up and down the floor a little bit more, running some more transition, Jeremiah Fears is going to open things up for you to run a little bit more. And he's going to take some stuff coast to coast, and that's going to be really exciting. And I think the Pelicans got a good one. Again, he'll continue to develop some things. He's going to have to, because the NBA game is very much a perimeter game. If you're a guard, you got to be able to deliver and contribute from the perimeter, but he's going to break down defenses a lot. And that's going to be fun to watch. And that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Sooners. Thanks so much for tuning in, being a part of the show. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Follow Jay at Unfair Sports. Go check out his channel, Unfair Sports, over on YouTube. You can follow me at John9Williams. You can read my work covering the Sooners over at SoonersWire.com. Sorry, I glitched a little bit. The show is at Locked On Sooners on all of your favorite social media platforms. But until next time, he's Jay Smith. I'm John Williams. We'll talk to you then. Boomer
Sooner. Maybe Jeremiah Fears gets traded. See if we can get him to Oklahoma City. That'd be awesome.